And I think there was a few of you from Australia came to, actually some came, Wayne Smith was at XeroCon 1, and XeroCon 2 was in Taupo. We had Bill and Jill came over, and we had about 200 people. So to be in Australia in front of 1,300 people is absolutely nuts. Really exciting. So what I want to do today, I don't have too much time, but I want to just give you an update of where we're at as a company. You know, you guys are making really big investments, so you just need to know who you're dealing with and what's happening. So a really quick update on that. We covered a lot of this off at our annual meeting presentation about a month ago. Then I'm going to talk to you about where we kind of see the industry moving. And the exciting thing is we've talked about how accounting changes. And we're now at a point now where we think we really are at the end of the beginning, and we're going to start to show you how quickly this industry will change and some cool stuff we're doing. And then I'm allowed to do one demo, and I'm going to get Tokes up to show you some stuff. And then we've sort of moved it around this year. At the end of the day, we've got all of our great new product managers coming through, and hopefully minds will be blown. So it's really exciting. We added 50,000 customers in the last month. But it was only 4 years ago when we hit 50,000 customers, and people were saying, you know, what's the Xero thing? How big can this be? And we put this thing out there, well, imagine what it looks like with 1 million customers. And from 50,000, that looked like that was a long way away. But we're a third of the way through now to 1 million customers, and it's just going faster. So it's getting really, really exciting. And what's changing, and we knew this, is that accounting software was never about the accounting software part. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to take data that sits on individual PCs, work with those customers, get all that data into one managed store, really invest heavily and give them great technology which makes them more productive, hire more people, all of those things. And we're seeing the benefit now of getting to this massive scale. So over the last year, it's been super interesting. Xero has sort of moved from a software company to an important company that's at the table with government, with banks, with large businesses, and we'll explain how that's all working at the moment. But we're, absolutely thrilled about this. And it's happening so fast, half of our customers have kind of been new in the last 12 to 18 months. So the velocity of this business is nuts. And while it's, you sort of see the headline numbers around customers and all of those things, a big part of what we do is build our team. And we've spent so much time, we've absolutely grown that while we've been, bringing all these customers on board. And just the amount of data that we need to manage, it's not just going up by the number of customers. Our existing customers have been around for a long time, so they have more data, so it's hundreds of servers. This is a very, very complex business, but we think we're absolutely smacking out of the park. And it's been nice to see some of our things working. We were really delighted to win the Global Forbes Award. But what we were actually most excited about over the last couple of weeks, our innovative support model, where we don't sit there and have our customers waiting on the phone. You guys log something, then we have the best Xero we can come back to you, is actually winning awards now overseas. So we're doing things differently, and we're starting to really see the benefits of that thinking. One of the most important slides we showed at our annual meeting, now we're getting to scale, you can compare Xero to other global software companies. And we don't think of ourselves as an Australasian-based company. We think of ourselves as a company that originates from this part of the world and has the values and the fun of people from this part of the world, but actually we are competing on the global stage. So as we're getting through these metrics, what we do is we can actually compare how we're going with the biggest software brands in the world. So a couple of measures are quite interesting for these SaaS businesses, and these are business SaaS companies. The years to 20 million of revenue, years to 100 million of revenue, and your growth rate at that point. And there's been some great work that McKinsey has done that says those companies that get to $1 billion of revenue plus, if you get to 100 quickly and your growth rate, if it's over 60%, you're then much more likely to get to $1 billion of revenue. So as we have benchmarked Xero, we are doing this at pace and at the same sort of scale as the best companies in the world. In fact, our growth rates are best in class. And this is super interesting because we've got to 100 million of revenue outside of the US, which is really exciting. And we haven't got to 100 million revenue in the enterprise market where you go and sell lots of sort of lumpy, expensive deals. We've done this in the small business market, which is about having the sales systems that get you to scale. So we're one of the few companies that have actually worked out how to sell to small business. And the reason that works is because we realise that accounting software is the only bit of business software that has a natural channel, accountants and bookkeepers. And if we can give you guys the tools that you guys talk to all of your customers, you can cost effectively get small business into these great technology platforms. And what's super exciting, and you can see it with the exhibitors outside and the 350 add-ons we have, once we have that accounting software relationship with small businesses, they go and they get this other bits of business software. So accounting software is the key to getting businesses onto all of this advanced technology. And working with you guys and why the accountant and bookkeepers channel is so important is the secret to market. So we're really excited about this, and you guys are making massive investments, you are making big decisions. You should be very, very comfortable that what we are doing is not just great from Australia and New Zealand point of view, absolutely world class. I'm just so proud of our team. So we've invested now over $250 million. And that sounds like a huge amount of money, but what we've realised, that's what you have to invest to build an accounting platform. Because in the cloud, the accounting platform is not just the accounting software that small business owners use, you have to build all the accountant side tools as well. Because why would you guys recommend software if it didn't have all of your back office workflows connected? So we've been very disruptive to the market. And the interesting thing is that no one else has really raised any real money. So we haven't seen any little young competitors coming up, and if someone did raise $50 or $100 million, we'd see them coming for a few years. So we actually don't see a lot of competition coming from below. What we see actually, the market's working itself out. It's us versus the incumbents that have been around for a while. And it's far, far easier when you're starting from scratch. But I think the market's quite confused at the moment. There's a natural assumption that big companies that have been around for a while, you'll just crush the small guy. But what we're seeing is that talent has left the big companies and is now working with high growth companies like ours. And without having the legacy of old technology, we can move away. And one of the big points I really want to show you guys today is in the beginning of online accounting, it all looks like we're doing the same stuff. But we've had 7 or 8 years now of building this beautifully clean platform. And as we get through doing the boring bits, ticking the boxes of what you would expect in accounting software, we can now show you what it means to have that clean architecture and how the market moves so quickly. So we're going to show you that stuff coming up today, and that's super exciting for us. So we're now over 900 people. I'm pretty sure if I applied for a job at Xero, I wouldn't get one. It's very, very hard to get in. And our number one thing is, as we grow so quickly, is how do we keep culture? And you'll see when you meet the Xeros, we have managed to do that. So one of the things I'm really proud of, we have grown quickly, but I think we've just got better and better and better rather than worse and worse. And I think when you see the quality of work we'll show this afternoon, that'll be pretty clear. Huge investment in product, huge investment in operations, huge investment in customer care. One of the big things we've had to do is, as you start off as a little startup company, you have a very centralised development team, and you get to a point where that just doesn't scale. So a big internal bit of work we've done over the last year to 18 months is we've broken away from our core, largely Wellington-based development team into fully distributed global teams. And I will tell you, this is absolutely traumatic. This is one of the hardest things that we've ever had to do. You guys probably didn't see it, but to go and actually break up our core team, to get other development centres working and getting all of that connected is incredibly difficult to do. And trying to find people that have run large development teams, they're really hard to find all those people. But I was sitting in a room, I think it was in Auckland, about 6 weeks ago, and I looked around the table and we just had this stunning group of product managers all running their own parallel development teams, and we've crossed that chasm. So what you'll see from Xero now is just this wall of innovation, a whole lot of just fantastic teams that aren't trampling over each other, with very clear purpose about what they want to do, and they can just fire off in parallel. And I think in our sessions at around 4 o'clock today, and you go and see those great people and the work we're doing, you will be blown away. So we think we're in an incredibly good position to just keep innovating, and you're going to see stuff at a pace you haven't seen from any other software company in the world. We've really invested in infrastructure. So, you know, Xero delivers absolutely an enterprise, enterprise-grade performance. We've got our great hosting partners, Rackspace, with us here today. They've just been part of our virtual team, just a great supplier. And, you know, we are now one of their largest customers globally, which is, you know, why they're here. So what we're doing with these very complex applications and getting them out to small business owners, there's really not that many companies doing things at our scale. And the difficulty we have is it's not just a simple consumer application. If you think about it, when you see an accountant's or bookkeeper's view, you're looking across all of your customers, and you know, their customers can be on data servers all over the place in multiple data centers. So there's a lot of complexity to make all of this work and look simple. One of the big investments we've also done today, done over the last year, we've spent millions and millions of dollars on something that you guys won't even see and we may not even need. We now operate in fully geographic redundant data centers. So if a plane went into one of our Rackspace data centers, your data is all ready to go, and we should be the fastest in the industry to stand that stuff up. So it's really hard for you guys to evaluate what everyone else has, and we didn't talk about this too much early because it's such a massive investment, but we've now done that investment, it's in place, so if anything catastrophic went wrong with Xero, we'd be able to get it up and running very, very quickly. And, you know, it's hard to say times, but kind of hours. And, you know, we've just seen another vendor that's been out for 3 days. We just think that's unacceptable, and it really ruins the trust of the cloud industry. So, you know, that's why it's important that people pay real money for this stuff. You know, it is very expensive to do these sorts of investments, but we're absolutely making them. And I equate Xero to building the bridge as you run across it. You know, we are continuously innovating and upgrading the software. We're actually doing software updates every sort of 3 to 4 days, and you know, major software updates every 3 to 6 weeks. And we think, you know, we look at what other companies do. I haven't seen anyone else shipping the amount of code that we're shipping. Just massive, massive amounts, and we think that's going to speed up. And what we've also done is a lot of work around silent updates, so that we're not taking everyone offline for an hour or two. We're actually getting these updates without people even knowing. So huge investment in infrastructure and absolutely world class. We've also, if you guys haven't met Amy Vedder, our global head of education, she's just been one of our best hires in the last year, and she's down here in Sydney. She's based in the US. And we are doing a massive investment in education, from Xero U, Xero TV, all the courses, online courseware. She's got a fantastic team. She's got developers in our team. Because what we realise is you cannot sell accounting software to small businesses. You have to educate them and make them smart. And it's so interesting watching the feedback we're getting from other industries, seeing how we're taking this education-led approach. So, you know, go and have a look at Xero TV, the fantastic videos. Go and see the quality of the webinars in Xero U. It's really cool. As we're getting to scale, we're starting to see the positive impacts that we're having at a global level and a national level. And, you know, so this is all good, but why are we here? Well, we get up in the morning because we want better schools and hospitals. Small business is the biggest contributor to GDP. If we can make them more productive at scale, they're going to hire more people, they're going to export, they're going to pay more tax, and that, you know, makes the whole country better. But, you know, how do we actually start measuring that stuff? So one of the good examples of this, and this just blew us away, we talked about this at XeroCon back in Auckland in February, is we've now got data for running online invoicing for over a year. So as you guys know, with online invoicing, you don't just create an invoice and email out a PDF, you send a hyperlink out, and our customer's customer clicks on that hyperlink to get their invoice, which means that we've got a read receipt that the invoice has been seen. So at scale, across 15 million invoices, $32 billion, we saw average days to get paid move from 43 days to 31. I mean, that's incredible, right? So now you cannot argue that you should be on online accounting. You have to be on online accounting. You know, you have to tell your customers about this stuff because their number one thing is cash flow, and we've seen the data. This materially improves the time it takes to get paid. So this isn't now about, hey, that's kind of just an interesting alternative. Online accounting is mandatory for your customers because they want to know the stuff, they need the stuff, they need that cash. And some of the stuff you'll see today lays the foundation for us, really gassing up the economy of small business. The other thing that was really interesting was that those online invoices get sent out to our customers. 1.4, this is Australian numbers, 1.4 million Australian people in business saw an online invoice in that time. So what's happening now is that the force of Xero and the network effects of Xero is rapidly educating the market, and we're actually becoming a market maker of new services. So it's not like, here's some great technology, let's tell everybody about it. 1.4 million Australians have been exposed to that technology in our first year. So it's really starting to happen. It's so exciting. So as you guys know, we have this concept of the Xero platform, a single ledger sitting in the middle with financial data and docs. We have on this side of the screen, that side of the screen, that's what small businesses see. On this side of the screen, that's what accountants and bookkeepers use. At the top is what Xero provides, at the bottom is what partners provide, all sitting around the same version of the data. So the Xero accounting application for small business, Practice Studio and all of your tools and tax, Modern Practice, which is integrations with Google Drive, with Office 365, all those tools that you need to run your practice, and then the great and really healthy add-on community, all connecting to the same things. And we invest in all of those areas, and it's going really well. We just had our Developer Day conference, well over 300 people at that yesterday, and one of the things we announced yesterday was a new add-on directory. And part of this is making the discovery of new and the assessment of quality of add-ons much, much easier. So this is one of our big requests again from you guys last year and probably the year before, was there's so many add-ons, which are the good ones, which ones do I need to know about? And so we've got a whole team now investing in this add-on community because we think the kind of accounting software fades to the back and it becomes all about these applications that actually drive business performance for your clients, which is pretty exciting. So where we are on the journey, we think we're very close to the end of the beginning, and I think I've been saying that at all the 11 preceding XeroCons, but we really are. And by full accounting, we think when you can tick the box and do everything that desktop software did but better, then we can say we've ticked that box. So we're going to show you where we're at with those last final things in our session at the end of the day. Well, what's happening now is we've now got 1/3 small businesses on our platform, and we can start to think about, well, what are the other things you do now? What happens post finishing all of the accounting software? So we see three main things. One is we've never thought online accounting exists as a product category for very long. This all becomes about just the business operating system, all the tools that our business uses to run. So it's a combination of us and our great add-on partners. We see a whole range of connected services. So why the data that's sitting on Xero at the moment is the data that all of our clients have entered in together. Well, there's lots of other data there as well. Why don't we start connecting all of that data to provide value? And then how can we actually use that data in a way that drives much better business performance? So from becoming a business platform, we see four main quadrants that we want to play in. So, accounting, obviously. And in Australia, we've seen having accounting and payroll linked together makes a whole lot of sense. If you're in the payroll space, then you're really in the payment space, B2B payments, because probably 60% of a small business expenditure goes out as payroll. And in Australia and New Zealand and the UK, we have, it's pretty easy working with the banks. So a lot of the work we're doing on this is on the banking side, what we're calling Banking 2.0, and providing much better interfaces so that accountants and bookkeepers can actually process accounts payable, push them into the bank on behalf of the business owner, and then the business owner just does a thumb approve on their mobile device. We're doing some cool stuff there. And as you're making payments and getting payments from customers and suppliers, so being able to start to manage that relationship so that we can drive better business performance and actually drive sales leads into our small business client base is really exciting. And Smart Lists is a feature we've already put out, which starts to show how we unlock the financial data to drive better sales success for our small business customers. So a big thing we're doing on this connected services is what we're doing inside banking. So in New Zealand, where we're blood relatives of everybody, we've been able to work with all of the major banks now, and we're doing we basically now are seeing banks spending significant money inside their firewall, providing the interfaces that accounting software and other businesses can now connect to seamlessly connect online banking with online accounting. So it's really working, and if you walk through Auckland Domestic Airport, you see a massive ASB billboard, and they're now competing with themselves as being the best Xero bank, which is super exciting. So we're deepening those partnerships. We're aggressively expanding feeds, so pretty much, probably 95% of your customers now, have feeds that come directly into Xero. We're driving down the cost of feeds. We've been sort of wearing that cost from the start, and if a bank starts charging for it, we're having this happening in the UK. They don't quite understand yet, so we've made those fees clear, and that's starting to change behaviour of the banks, because we think they get more value in a much stickier relationship. We now have a banking relationship manager, because we're doing so much with them, and a whole team now doing some cool stuff, and absolutely doing this next generation banking. So sort of Banking 2.0 we see is Banking 2.0 is getting your customers directly provisioned inside internet banking, and then being able to provide a payments airlock so that you guys, and especially the bookkeepers, can do all of the accounts payable work, including pushing the payment batch securely into internet banking, so the business owner can then see, okay, we've got 20 bills to pay, they've been loaded from Bob the bookkeeper, and they've come through the secure Xero channel. I want to see the invoices. Yep, I'm going to approve those. So we can get you guys doing more of that work, so that the small businesses can just do their thing. And we see if we can then start getting the much better data, we think we can really accelerate small business lending. And also, I think the way we see it, if the accountant especially can get in and is working alongside the small business customer, we expect that the accountant may become part of the loan, in that you've known those people for 5+ years, you're looking at their financials every month. If you're doing that, we think the risk profile comes down, and there may be some great opportunities for accountants to have a really neat relationship with banks. And and if people can borrow money, they can invest in plant, they can hire more people, it's all good. So we see these smart connected financial services. So we've already got banks connected into Xero. One of the things we announced at our annual meeting was a relationship with Vita. Vita have information about every business in Australia and New Zealand. So you start to see how this goes, right? So at the moment, the data you put in about your customers is just the data that you know about them. Well, wouldn't it be great if you started typing in, if you were supplying services to, John's pool building place, and you go, do you mean them in Long Beach? Yes, I do. And you go, oh, well, that's interesting. Would you like a credit check of those people? So small businesses would know that there's credit checking services, but it's never been relevant to them. So maybe from a click of a button, they can say, okay, I'm going to do a credit check. And if it comes back and it's not that good, they'll say, well, I still want to work for you, but you've got to pay me cash. And everybody wins. So there's some really exciting stuff that we can do. We can start to link people together. We're now, working out the regions people are at, the industry groups they're at, and some really interesting data getting towards benchmarking. Chris is going to show you some really cool stuff we're doing with some other Australian financial providers tomorrow. We're connecting to the ATO and helping them on their strategy, and we've got great payments connectors and all of the add-ons coming through. So what we see is that the servers are sitting there at night connecting to a whole bunch of other organisations, and we feel in a year or two you'll kind of log onto your iPad and you have this feeling of movement, that the software's been doing some really smart things for you. And if you're working with a particular set of customers and they're having financial issues and maybe some charge, or they've gone out of business, you'll get proactively told. So we think the software can do a whole lot more for you than what it does now. So moving away from just recording things. So we're using New Zealand as a test lab. It's really interesting actually, because New Zealand is a small place, and we've really got to scale. So now I think New Zealand's about 450,000 small businesses. We have a quarter of all businesses on our platform. So that just changes the conversation. New Zealand GDP, rather pathetically for you guys, is about 200 billion. We saw over $50 billion through our engines last year. So the ability to use that data to drive insights has just never ever been seen before. So we're seeing the next level effects. What we're seeing now is large providers connecting into us. So one of the big telcos in New Zealand is looking at charging $1.50 for people to receive their paper statements. Well, we're saying, well, that's crazy. Why wouldn't you connect your subscriber billing portal to Xero and then just send your invoices in directly, and nice, beautiful, itemized invoices that, that's the main connection that they have with you is getting the bill, and you're going to delight them in saving all the time of processing that data. So once you get to scale, we're seeing this cool phenomena where large businesses are thinking of Xero as an EDI platform to automate their supply chain. They can now connect to thousands and thousands of small businesses. And you'll start seeing this stuff. What's happening in New Zealand is absolutely being noticed in Australia, and there are large groups, large suppliers in the trades industry that deal with thousands and tens of thousands of contractors. It automates their supply chain if they can connect into us. So that's absolutely happening right now, and we're starting to see that. We're also seeing the change between the private sector and public sector with government. So in New Zealand at the moment, we're just kicking off a $1.5 billion tax rewrite. And our view is, well, if we're going to spend that much money, we should also have the New Zealand Space Program at the same time. So we've said, why would you build a retail tax engine where the software developers already have our major tax form, we have to build that stuff? Why don't you guys just publish the rules and just let the private sector go and build all of those things? And if people don't want to use our software, we'll stand up some free versions, because that'll save you guys $500 million. So we are at the table now changing the relationship between our government and small business, because we are representing so many small businesses. So this means we're not waiting for the government to do things, we're actually driving the agenda. And that's, I think, is what makes Xero so exciting. So, we kind of looked around as we do these things and kind of see what else is happening, and look at the things we've done. We have now small businesses and their accountant on exactly the same ledger. What we've done with bank feeds, how bank feeds now are the kick-off of your daily business processes and eliminate the catch-up in the weekend. Our multi-perspective general ledger, cash and accruals in the same engine. Real-time multi-currency, mark-to-market, one-click report packs, and you get all of this great data in one click. The ecosystem, what we've done with files now, so that you don't have all of your paper documents sitting in shoeboxes, they're right in the accounting software. What that's doing to the cost of audits for schools and all those sort of things. Smart lists, starting to unlock the accounting data to drive new sales. The way our support model works, so you're not sitting on the phone, and the way that, even the way that we've built our company so it's open. We engage and we talk to you, and you guys are helping us actively drive the product. And if somebody doesn't like what they're doing, they tell us on our blog and we respond immediately. So I think, we are absolutely changing the industry. And when you look at what other people are doing, it's hard to think of anything innovative that anyone else has really done. We looked and said, okay, well, what else is done? Everyone's following us. So, we're so excited about this, because we have the attention span of 3-year-olds. Driving things forward is what we love doing. So, I'm almost done. I just want to show you one thing. I'm allowed to show you one thing. So, we've been doing over the last year a massive investment in what we call business intelligence. So, accounting software up to date, and it's sitting on PCs, it's really hard to get insights out of it. But we've had now this platform for 8 years, and Xero was the most beautiful accounting engine that's ever been built. Not just the UI that you see, but the database that sits below it is one of the things I'm just so proud of. It's a beautiful engine, and what it does is it records accounting transactions really well. But the way the industry works now is really just on those transactions. You don't really get this view of the insights of what's going on, and you have to go and hunt for this sort of stuff. So we've always knew that we would do this. It just takes a lot of time, and it's a massive investment. So alongside all of our transactional databases over the last year, we've been building a whole parallel set of architecture. So we basically take all of the data, and we can offline crunch a whole lot of stuff, and then write it back into the transactional system so customers can see it. And so what we think is this is going to absolutely change the conversation with you and your customers, from just doing invoices to let's talk about your business. And Tokes is going to come on stage and just give us a very quick live demo. So all the live demos we're going to show you today are stuff that should be due in the next 90 days. And there's a lot of stuff we're not showing you because it's in the pipe, but we didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, and the market's pretty competitive. We just want to show you the stuff that's actively being worked on at the moment. So Tokes.
Yep, just keep talking, Rod.
I'll keep going.
There a sec.
So, oh, you're right.
It's coming.
So we have a team in Auckland, Tim Mole, who worked with us years and years ago at a prior business. We're just getting these great people coming on. So we've got this platform which allows us to just create tremendous insights. And once we have this data, you can imagine as we're starting to move towards the nirvana, which we think is pretty much real-time benchmarking, this is a massive, massive step moving forward. And what we're also doing is not just thinking about other company information we can bring into our database, what are other kind of economic data factors that we can come into here. So how you going?
I'm doing all right. You just keep telling a story.
I'm moving to interpretive dancing.
Yep. I was going to say, I'll keep talking while I'm desperately trying to get this thing to work. I was going to change my job title to the product manager of the boring bits, because every time Rod comes on stage, he says that we're desperately working on the boring bits to get to the good stuff. And in fact, Rod's vision is always to talk about the stuff that's 5 years in advance, and we're desperately trying to run ahead of ourselves to get there.
So obviously the stuff we're about to show you is about sort of getting some of these great sort of KPIs through. We've also got some really good partners that have done some stuff in this space at the time. And one of the things we do at our developer days and the conversation we have is just keep letting people know what we're working on and what the opportunities are. So with all the work we're seeing and all the work we're doing across all of these things, we'll be having an open API. So for people that are providing some of these services, we're just going to give them much better data and a higher performance way to get this information out of our servers. So what we're excited about is next year, all of the add-ons and what they've done, taken what we've done and how they've extended it. And we've seen some great applications out there of people doing forward forecasting.
All right, I'm there.
You right?
I'm
good.
there.
Flip the screens.
All right, so we can flip to the demo. So hey, what I wanted to show you was a little bit of magic. So we've been talking, so 5 years ago when I started at XeRO, we were talking about, Rod would come and talk to us and say, hey, I've got this vision for how it might be, and we desperately are running towards Rod's vision. And he must be the world's most patient man, because he literally is 5 years ahead of everybody in his thinking, and we're desperately trying to get to that point, and so he keeps stretching us to do more. So what I'm showing you now is kind of like a view into where we're going with some of the work we're thinking around about what's saying around the data that we store. So the boring bits that we talk about are all the things that just get you tick in the box. Quotes and inventory that's happening at the moment that we're working on. It's not boring. We'll make it beautiful and awesome, but this is the sort of game-changing stuff that we get really excited about. So this is Craig Walker, our CTO, has been working on this and just sort of popped this out of the bag literally days ago. But it gives you a bit of an insight into what we're thinking. So here's a reimagining of the dashboard, and in fact the only real change from, it looks a little bit different, but we've got a cash flow numbers here, so your cash position month to month, just so this his particular example here is not a particularly healthy looking company. But you get an idea of giving customers insights into their business in a way that they can't get easily by drilling into individual documents. So the big one we're talking about is the business performance. So this idea here is you get these spark lines that show you how your business is going. Now we've added some standard industry KPIs in there, but you can imagine lots of other types of metrics that can really give them a sort of a traffic light view of the health of their business at any point in time. So I can drill into that and see like a dashboard of those spark lines. Now this is where you might imagine that we could take feeds from other companies. We could allow, say, Vend to provide a feed into us that we could then present as a widget on this particular page that shows your monthly sales figures or whatever it is that particular add-on provider wanted to show you. And you can do that with all sorts of different providers. So we're going to provide a whole set of standard widgets that people can say, okay, I want to display a bar graph of this stuff or a line graph of this, and sort of start to build that. And it really takes that focus away from XeRO just being this web app to being XeRO being this way in which we can aggregate all this information from various parties and provide this like 30,000 foot view of your business and the health of it. And we're going to take this even further. So this is really just a taster. So what you're seeing here is likely to hit the product reasonably soon, months we're talking, weeks, months. The vision for where we take this, we're going to be working on for a while just to make it all that magic happen, but it's really, you can really start to see the power of what we can do. And you can dive into these guys here, and it will give you a bit of a blast. So most customers don't know how you work out debtor days, so it gives you a bit of a blur, and it gives you a bit of an exploded view of what that data looks like, and they can hover over it and see the actual numbers. So we thought, anyway, we thought we'd give you a quick taste of where our heads are at around this sort of stuff. And if you want to find out more about what's coming in the product, so the session we've got to, I think it's around 4 o'clock or something, we're going to be talking, a number of product managers and I are going to be talking about some of the things that are coming up in the next 90 days. So we're trying to be really focused so that you guys get first insights into the stuff that you can expect your clients to have in their hands within that sort of 3-month window. And some really exciting stuff to cover there as well, so make sure you come along.
Awesome. So that's pretty cool, huh? So we think that just changes the conversation. So it's much less about now just doing the numbers. We've been doing a good job of that for a while, and you guys do a great job of that. But now you just have a whole set of new opportunities, and we think this is we're going to see this financial literacy with you guys just pushing this out. And we're just going to see business get a whole lot better. And this is the beauty of the cloud, right? That this $250 million investment we've made, we've got this now clean engine, and now we're just going to change the game and completely sail away. So, we love seeing you guys. It's exciting. I hope we're still up here in 10 to 15 years. That we'll probably be over in the stadium when that happens. And this is so much fun. Thanks, everyone.